everyone, this is Ben from Agfa, and what we're going to look at now is, following on from the previous tutorial, we're going to look at how we can make this terrain look a little bit less sort of tiling, so that we can just change the resolution of it, but also just sort of put a bit of variety on it to make it look a little less plastic and a little bit more natural. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our material that we've made, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we can scale this down or up, basically, because that's what we want to do. At the moment it's too low res, and so it's really easy to see all the different repetition and everything, and it's so small that it becomes hard for us to see. So we need to change the size of it that way. So we're going to go into here, and so far we've got our main material, got the break attribute, we've got our layer blend, and we've got each of these, which are the different materials. So we've got our rock texture here, we've got our dirt texture here, and our original grass texture here. So what we're going to do is going to right click out here for the first one, and we're just going to copy and paste it to the other ones. So this is going to be landscape again, and this time we're going to go with landscape layer coordinates. So this will get the coordinates from that layer info that we've created, and it will then multiply it by a value of 0.25 before plugging it into the UV. So if you don't know what UVs are, UVs don't stand for anything, they're just coordinates like X, Y, and Z, but they basically explain how we can get two-dimensional data and apply it to a three-dimensional shape. So it kind of maps everything out so you don't get all this stretching on it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to left click and drag out of here, type in multiply. So even though, you know, we're all artistic people and we see colors as being a form of expression, computers just see them as numbers. And so what we're doing with multiplying is we're just changing the value of those numbers and coordinates. So here we're multiplying it at the moment by 0. So we're going to right click here on B and go promote to parameter. We're going to call this one size. Pull this down, and then we're going to change the default value here to 0.25. And then we're just going to simply plug these into these different UVs right here. And we can in fact copy this across to all of them, plug them into each of these. And again, it seems like a lot of work and everything, but it does make a big difference, and it does help us make it very easy for us to quickly change anything, because if we change this one here, we change this to say 0.01, that will actually change all of these other size parameters as well. So you don't have to do it for each and every one of them, you can just do it that way. So we'll save that. And the next thing we're going to look at is how we can put another layer over the top of it that will just act as a bit of a noise filter. It's basically just going to sort of vary up some of the light and darker shades. And we're going to actually cheat a little bit. We're going to borrow from an already existing material inside of the Unreal Starter Pack, and from there we're then just going to bring it in and apply it over the top. So again, this has gone to a grey because it's taking its time to think about it and everything. But once it's finished shading, you should see a noticeable difference in the texture itself. It'll be a very different resolution. We can already sort of see it's a little bit better up there. Yep, okay, cool. So it's still tessellating a bit, but not as much as it was before. So that's good. But now let's talk about how we can vary this up a little bit more here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to content here and go to starter content. And if you don't already have that, just go up here to add to import, add feature content, go to content packs and select starter content. And what we're going to do is go inside that folder, go into materials, and there's one here that's really good called the gold material. So we're going to double click and open that and see exactly what it is. And this shows you exactly how complicated some of these can become. But if you look here on this sphere, you'll notice that the gold isn't shiny all the way around. It's kind of got these sort of darker patches and lighter patches, and we're going to borrow that basically and put that into our terrain and leave all the gold color texture here with this one. So to do that, we're going to left click and drag over here. So we've got all of this sort of copied, so we don't have to go through the trouble of doing that ourselves. We're going to go Control C. I'm going to go back up here to landscape material 4, or whichever one you have named it, because mine's gone through a number of different iterations. And we're going to click up here, left click that is, and then press Control V. You don't want to right click, because pasting it here will just get you all this sort of gibberish and it won't mean anything. So we're going to left click and drag and pull these down. And then basically, just before it goes into the base color here, we're going to actually put in a multiply node here, have that in there. We're going to take the base color into there, and then take the output from this lerp here and plug it in there. And basically it's just going to take all of these sort of variations of these sort of dark and light sort of shades here and apply it to the base color. So whenever we see rock or grass or dirt in here, it's basically going to change the sort of shade of the color itself. And so especially when you're looking at it from a distance, you won't notice that tessellation, especially on flat surfaces. It'll make it a lot less obvious. So now if we come back into here and look into the distance, you'll start to see all these sort of like dark sort of shades, because grass, you know, unless it's a well manicured lawn, doesn't exactly stay all the same shade. Parts of it get different parts of light. So this sort of helps to create that illusion there, and as you can see, that helps break up a lot of that tessellation there as well. So it's not, you know, perfect, it's not finished yet and everything, but it's a very good start for us to have just to build this on. There's a few more complexities we can look at, and we might look at those, but just for now, if you can get to this point, I think that's a very good base for us to start with. And you know, you'll see it in here, even that sort of color map goes over the top of that as well, just to sort of make it blend a little bit better. So have at it, start trying to sort of model this terrain and start texturing it and coloring it, and check out the previous videos as well that we had on this about foliage, because there are a few that you can use even in the starter pack, such as this bush here and everything, where we can just paint on some of that, but we'll look at that potentially in the next video when we start bringing this texture up to the next level.